Hey everyone, I am Lenny, and today I want to talk directly to a specific group of people. If you are 65 years old and you are still renting your home, this video is for you. Not because renting is wrong, not because you made bad decisions, but because there are things happening in your financial life right now that nobody is talking to you about openly and honestly. Things that could significantly change your retirement security if you understand them and act on them. Things that your landlord definitely does not want you to know, and things that even well-meaning financial advisors often gloss over because they assume the decision has already been made. Stay with me, because what I am going to share today could genuinely matter to the quality of your life for the next 20 years. Before we begin, I am not a licensed financial advisor. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Please always consult a qualified financial advisor before making any major financial decisions. Now let us get into it. Let me start with a number, because numbers tell the truth in a way that words sometimes cannot. The average American renter pays approximately $1,500 to $2,000 per month in rent right now in 2026. In many cities, and I am talking about places where a lot of seniors live, places like Phoenix, Las Vegas, Charlotte, Tampa, even smaller cities across the Sun Belt, that number is significantly higher. Let us use $1,800 per month as a realistic middle number. That is $21,600 per year. Over 10 years of retirement, that is $216,000. Over 20 years, which is a very realistic retirement timeline for a healthy 65-year-old today, that is $432,000. Almost $500,000 going to a landlord with nothing to show for it at the end, no equity, no asset, no security, just receipts. Now I am not telling you this to make you feel bad. I am telling you this because I want you to see the full picture of what renting in retirement actually costs. Not just the monthly check you write, but the cumulative lifetime cost of a decision that most people make 1 month at a time without ever stepping back to see the 20-year total. And here is what makes that number even more significant. Rent does not stay the same. Rent goes up. The average annual rent increase in the United States has been running between 5 and 7% in recent years. That $1,800 per month today could easily be $2,400 or $2,600 per month in 5 years, and $30,200 or more in 10 years. On a fixed retirement income, Social Security plus modest savings, those rent increases are not abstract. They are real, painful, monthly squeezes on a budget that cannot easily expand to accommodate them. This is the first thing nobody is telling you. Your rent is not a fixed expense. It is a growing expense in a retirement budget that is largely fixed. And the gap between your fixed income and your rising rent is going to get wider every single year unless something changes. Now let me talk about the second thing nobody is telling you, and this one surprises a lot of people when they first hear it. Renting in retirement is significantly more financially vulnerable than most people realize because of a risk that has no name in popular conversation, but that financial planners call housing insecurity. Here is what that means in practical terms. When you rent, your housing situation is entirely dependent on decisions made by someone else. Your landlord can decide not to renew your lease, your landlord can sell the property, your building can be converted to condos. Your landlord can raise the rent to a level that you genuinely cannot afford. And at 75 or 78 or 80 years old, when moving is physically difficult, when the stress of relocation is genuinely hard on your health, when your network and your doctors and your community are all in the neighborhood you have been in, being forced to move is not just an inconvenience. It is a genuine crisis. I have spoken with seniors who were forced out of rental homes in their late 70s because of landlord decisions they had no control over. The disruption to their lives, their health, their routines, and their emotional well-being was significant and lasting. That vulnerability, the vulnerability of having your most basic security dependent on someone else's financial decisions, is real. And it is something that every senior who is renting needs to factor into their planning. So what are the options? What can a 65-year-old who is currently renting actually do? Because I know that some of you are thinking, Lenny, I do not have the savings for a down payment. I do not have the credit history. The ship has sailed on homeownership for me. And I want to challenge that assumption directly, because for many seniors in this situation, the options are more varied and more accessible than you might think. The first option is one that most seniors have never seriously considered, and that is the question of geography. Where are you living right now, and is that location driven by genuine necessity or by inertia? Because the cost of renting varies enormously across the United States. A senior paying $2,000 per month to rent in a high-cost metro area could find comparable or better quality housing in a lower cost of living region for $800 or $900 per month. That difference, $1,100 or $1,200 per month, is $13,200 per year. Over 15 years of retirement, that is nearly $200,000 in savings that stays in your pocket rather than going to a landlord. I am not telling you to leave your community, your family, your doctors, your friends, those things have real value and they deserve to be weighed seriously. But I am telling you to have the honest conversation about whether your current location is a deliberate choice or simply a default. Because for many seniors, it is a default that is costing them an enormous amount of money every single year. The second option, and this one is genuinely underutilized by seniors, is exploring whether home ownership is actually still possible for you. I know that feels like it might not apply to your situation, but hear me out. If you have been renting for years and paying $1,800 per month reliably, you have demonstrated the financial discipline of a mortgage payment. If you have Social Security income and possibly some savings, you may have more borrowing capacity than you assume. Mortgage programs specifically designed for seniors, including programs that count retirement assets as income for qualification purposes, have expanded significantly in recent years. And in lower cost of living areas, a modest home may be purchasable at a price point that makes the monthly payment genuinely comparable to what you are paying in rent, with the critical difference that the payment goes toward an asset you own rather than a landlord's pocket. This conversation, the specific numbers-based conversation about whether home ownership is possible and whether it makes mathematical sense for your situation, is worth having with a mortgage professional before you dismiss it as not applicable to you. The third option is something that has grown enormously in popularity among seniors in the past several years, and that is intentional co-living or shared housing arrangements. This is not moving in with your children, although that is a valid option for some families. This is a deliberate choice to share a home with one or more other adults, friends, acquaintances, or people you connect with through senior housing networks, in a way that dramatically reduces the individual cost of housing for everyone involved. Two seniors sharing a three-bedroom home can each pay $700 or $800 per month for housing that would cost either of them $1,500 or more individually. They gain not just financial relief, but also companionship, shared household responsibilities, and the social connection that research consistently identifies as one of the most important factors in senior health and longevity. Senior co-living networks and matching services have grown significantly and are now available in most major metropolitan areas. It is worth exploring if you have not already. The fourth option, and this applies specifically to seniors who own some assets even if not a home, is the question of whether a reverse mortgage might be a tool worth understanding. Now, I want to be careful here because reverse mortgages are complex products with significant terms and conditions that vary and that require careful evaluation with qualified professional guidance. But for seniors who do own a home and who are equity rich but cash poor, meaning they have significant home equity but limited liquid savings, a reverse mortgage can convert that equity into income without requiring them to sell the home or make monthly payments. This is not a universal solution, and it is not right for everyone. But it is a tool that exists and that is worth understanding if it might apply to your situation. Now, I want to talk about something that goes beyond the financial, because I think the most important thing I can say to a 65-year-old who is renting is this. The decisions you make about housing in the next 3 to 5 years will have more impact on your financial security in your late 70s and 80s than almost any other decision you will make. Housing is the largest expense in most senior budgets. It is the expense most vulnerable to inflation and to forces outside your control. And it is the expense where the difference between a good strategy and a default strategy is most likely to make the difference between a retirement that works and a retirement that does not. I am not saying you need to buy a house tomorrow. I am not saying renting is always the wrong answer. In some situations and some markets, it genuinely is not. What I am saying is that if you are 65 and renting and you have never had a serious, specific, numbers-based conversation with a financial advisor about your housing strategy for the next 20 years, that conversation needs to happen. Soon. Before rent increases, make your current situation untenable. Before your health makes a potential move more difficult. Before options that are available to you today close. Here is your action plan. This week, write down your current monthly rent and calculate what it will cost you over the next 10 and 20 years, assuming a 5% annual increase. That number will probably surprise you. Then write down your total monthly income from all sources. Then ask yourself honestly, is my housing cost sustainable as my income stays roughly fixed and my rent keeps rising? If the honest answer is no, or even maybe, then your next step is a conversation with a financial advisor about your overall retirement picture and how housing fits into it. With a housing counselor about your options given your specific financial situation. With people in your life who have navigated similar situations and found solutions you might not have considered. You have worked your entire life. You deserve security. You deserve stability. You deserve to know that your home, wherever it is and whatever form it takes, is not going to be taken from you by someone else's financial decision when you are 78 years old. That security is worth fighting for. And the fight starts with information and honest conversation. I am Lenny, and I want to say something directly before I close. This channel exists because I believe every American senior deserves honest financial information delivered with respect and without judgment. If today's video helped you think differently about your housing situation, please hit that like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps us reach more seniors who need this conversation. If you are not subscribed to Retirement Clarity, please subscribe right now and hit that bell. We post new videos every week, and every single one is made with you in mind. We are a growing community, and every subscriber matters enormously to us. Please share this video with someone you know who is 65 or older and still renting. You might be giving them information that genuinely changes their retirement. That is why we are here. And drop your situation in the comments below. Are you renting? Are you thinking about options? Do you have questions about your specific situation? Tell me, because your comments shape every video I make and I read every single one. I am Lenny. Take good care of yourselves, make smart decisions, and I will see you in the very next one.